Welcome and thank you for wrapping up the start of the work week by tuning in to the news. I'm Joyce Murrell reporting for 18 WJTS. Saturday morning, the Jasper Police Department was dispatched in reference to a suspicious male subject who parked their vehicle in the field behind Vincennes University Jasper campus and was walking around. Officers were able to locate the subject, identified as 19-year-old Joseph E. Roy of Downey, California, at the intersection of Gun Club Road and Woodland Drive. Roy was taken to Memorial Hospital for medical clearance, and while he was there, he battered both the staff and officers. Roy was booked into the Du Bois County Security Center and is facing charges of battery on law enforcement, battery resisting law enforcement, escape, criminal trespass, criminal mischief, and disorderly conduct. Late Saturday night, the Jasper Police Department responded to a hit-and-run accident at Briarcliff Parkway and Cedar Crest Court. Investigation showed that the driver of a Jeep Grand Cherokee had crashed into a parked and unoccupied vehicle and had run from the scene on foot. Officers were able to locate the driver of the Jeep, identified as 36-year-old Dustin Kirby, and found that he was intoxicated. After Kirby was taken to Memorial Hospital for medical treatment, he was booked into the Du Bois County Security Center. Kirby is facing charges of operating a vehicle while intoxicated prior, operating a vehicle while intoxicated with a .08 blood alcohol content or higher, operating a vehicle while intoxicated with endangerment, invasion of privacy, and leaving the scene of an accident. Saturday afternoon, the driver of a Nissan Altima was traveling north on Meridian Road when they did not stop at the stop sign at State Road 162 intersection. This caused the Nissan to crash into the driver's side of a 2020 International that was traveling east at the intersection. The International turned left from the impact of the crash and collided with the rear bumper of a stopped Buick Encore facing the west turn lane of State Road 162. The driver of the Nissan was taken to the hospital due to complaints of pain and was charged with driving having never received a license and disregarding a stop sign. The Nissan was totaled in the accident, and the International and the Buick both sustained $5,000 each in damages. Saturday evening, the Jasper Police Department was dispatched to a vehicle versus pedestrian accident in the parking lot of Holy Family Church. When officers arrived, they immediately gave first aid to the pedestrian, who was then transported to Memorial Hospital for medical treatment. Officers were able to determine that the driver of a Chrysler 300 was attempting to leave the parking lot when they backed into a parked Ford F-150. The driver then accelerated forward, causing the Chrysler to cross a median, strike the pedestrian, and hit a parked Chevy Equinox. All three vehicles sustained $500 in damages each in the accident, for a total of $1,500 in damages. The condition of the pedestrian is unknown at this time. The Jasper Police Department says while the investigation is still ongoing, it is determined that there is no criminal charge for the driver of the Chrysler. Around 7 a.m. on February 17th, Boonville High School student Ashton Pryor lost control of her vehicle, struck a guardrail, and rolled her vehicle. The passenger, 15-year-old Peyton Pryor, was transported to a nearby hospital. Ashton Pryor's 17-year-old life was tragically cut short that day, but her impact on the lives of those who knew her will last a lifetime. As Boonville High School students grapple with the loss of their friend, they found a new camaraderie in a somewhat unlikely place. The Southridge Raiders boys basketball team prepared for their face-off against the Pioneers last week with focus on more than just the scoreboard. Prior to tip-off, the Raiders invited the Pioneers to join them next door to Memorial Gym at the Teen Outback to acknowledge and celebrate the life of Ashton Pryor. The fellowship gathering created space for students to share stories, grief, and a meal. As Memorial Gym filled with spectators expecting an athletic display, attendees of all ages witnessed compassion, empathy, and love for their fellow man. Raiders and Pioneers alike rounded the court to pay their respects to Ashton Breyer before basketball commenced. Although the tears shed around the hardwood floor can't bring Ashton back, the love she instilled into all who knew her provided a heartfelt reminder for all to see. Life is greater than circumstance. Ashton's ability to posthumously remind us of that means she will continue living. A February 23rd decision in the Indiana Court of Appeals found Timothy Stark, owner of Wildlife in Need, to be personally liable for the misappropriation of assets and funds from the nonprofit located in Charlestown, Indiana. Court documents say Stark failed in his duties as a member of WIN's board of directors by failing to act in the best interests of the organization. The trial in the Indiana Court of Appeals found Stark to have failed in his responsibility to uphold the duties of his position in the nonprofit, and that he breached those duties in making unlawful contributions to himself. The court upheld their decision to pierce the corporate veil under these circumstances. Attorney General Todd Rokita's office, in conjunction with the Indianapolis Zoo, removed 161 animals from WIN in September of 2020. The board of directors voted to dissolve the nonprofit that same month. A Marion County court issued an order in May 2022 to address the distribution of the organization's assets that were being held. Court documents indicate the order of primary distribution of assets to the state and the Indianapolis Zoo was influenced by their efforts in rescuing the animals. Attorney General Rokita celebrated this win in the Indiana Court of Appeals with the reminder that his office looks to and relies on Hoosiers filing complaints on nonprofits in violation of state law. Consumer complaints can be filed at indianaconsumer.com. We'll be right back with a check of the weather, followed by Kurt Gutzel with sports.